Here we go. Here we go. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button. Tell a friend, tell a friend. Here we have another crazy story, Greed. We all know that greed is a terrible thing. You know, a lot of people, for some reason, they always want extra, especially extra money. You want some extra money? Yeah, I want some extra money. I want some extra money. Imagine that. They said BMF, especially Big Meech, he wouldn't have been able to get those fancy cars and those big old mansions if a greedy person didn't want to help him out. Imagine that. There's a whole lot of individuals who threw their whole career away just for a couple of extra dollars. Unbelievable.
You know what I'm saying? One thing about this dope money and different money, like, it's so much money around that you can get a house in somebody else's name. We had houses in celebrities' names. We had houses in football players' names, NFL players' names. You feel me? Pac-Man Jones bought properties for us. And we had properties that was his properties, that was our properties. You know, I could talk about it now, but I could talk about it then. But Meech had houses in every state, bro. Like, you know, and people like, how can a drug kingpin have houses like that and not be? Nah, that was in other people's names. You feel me? Meech was a ghost out here, living like a ghost. We was living like ghosts, like millionaire ghosts in different towns, and people in different cities living like millionaires. But we had to watch how we spent our money. You feel me? So you couldn't spend. You had to buy a house in somebody else's name and tip them and give them extras and grease them to make shit like that happen. You know, even the cars. All our cars wasn't in our names. Our cars was in the company names that we came from. We was able to build a relationship with the people that owned the companies and keep the cars in their names. You know, these $1 million, you know, these Rolls Royces and the Phantoms and shit. And, you know, the feds would have came on any car, you spend over $10,000, it's got to be reported. So Meech was real smart with that.
I mean, is money that important? What do you want to take a fancy trip to Mexico? A fancy trip to Jamaica? I mean, what do you want to do? You want to go shopping, you know, in the Gucci store? Do you want to go shopping, you know, at the Hermes store? I mean, what do you want to do with that money? Huh? It could be many things. It could even be as just some extra bills that individuals want to pay. But believe it or not, a whole lot of these drug dealers, they wouldn't be successful if hard-working professional individuals did not help them out. Think about that. So you have hard-working professional individuals who have good-paying jobs. Who you have an individual like a Big Meech, go to them and say, you know what? Here's a couple extra dollars. Here's a couple of extra dollars right here. Here's what I want you to do for me in return. I want you to go down to the dealership, try to get me a car. Or I want you to go try to get me a house, or go try to get me an apartment, you know, or go try to get me, you know, anything at all. And the professional individuals think about you, say, you know what? Okay, I know you're making money. I'd do it for you. Just give me a couple extra dollars. That's it. Imagine that. It was that easy for Big Meech to flourish because he had individuals who was willing to basically commit crimes with him in a sense. Not the same type of crimes. Different. But Big Meech would have never gotten to the heights where he's gotten if individuals wasn't willing to co-sign certain things for him. He was basically a homeless rich man. He had all the money, but he didn't have any proof of income. So not having any proof of income, you need somewhere to stay. A landlord's not going to rent you a place. You definitely can't buy a house with no proof of income. So you know what? He turned to a professional person. Most likely a person with a career. He even said they had athletes helping out Big Meech. I'm wondering, are there any athletes right now helping out criminals getting homes that they don't really supposed to have? Imagine that. I never thought about that until right now. I'm starting to think about it. It's crazy. Who's the real criminal then? If that's the case. Is it Big Meech? For doing what he does, we know he's a criminal. What about these other individuals who kind of helped Big Meech in a sense to get to the status where he was? He wouldn't have been able to have all those homes, so allegedly, houses in every state. Did Big Meech really have houses in every state? It's a lot of houses. I mean, is he walking around that many keys? I don't know, how does that work? I mean, I guess 50 keys is not that much. You know what I'm talking about, keys. I'm not talking about what Big Meech used. So I'm not talking about Big Meech's keys. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about house keys. And I know a couple of, he said he had a couple of houses in a few states. I mean, is he walking around all those keys? I don't know. Or is that exaggerated? Think Big Meech really have a house in every state? I don't know. If he did, that's a lot of houses. He was really traveling. I guess that's probably why he know everybody. And all these individuals that he knew, were they just like him in a sense? They wanted to make extra money, but they just want to do it in a different way. They said Big Meech, you should just go to individuals, even individuals at dealerships, and say, you know what? You heard what he said. You heard what he said. Unbelievable. I had no idea that Big Meech had it like that. I always knew about greed, though. I always knew that individuals who are greedy, they do whatever they gotta do to get that extra money. Imagine that, getting extra money. What would you do with that extra money? Believe it or not, most times individuals get extra money and do unproductive things with it. It's crazy. Criminals everywhere, as you can see. You have the professional ones, you have the low-level street ones. Crazy. Another thing that's crazy too, this individual right here is coming out and talking about what Big Meech used to do and talking about who he should do it for. And I said, don't forget, we live in a crazy world. Same crazy world at that. Individuals say, you know what? It is what it is. Maybe they're no longer friends. Imagine that. Unbelievable. It's one of those things, though. Professional criminals. They said a lot of these notorious drug dealers wouldn't be successful if real professional individuals didn't help them out. I mean, they're not going to low-level individuals who don't have no jobs to get me a place. Imagine that. They're not going to the local, They're going to individuals who have jobs. Been at these jobs for years. Making that money, but show that they can pay for it. Unbelievable. It's complicated. Imagine that. They say crime don't pay. I see him do it.